Morning, guys. Very early morning wake up call for me this morning. um, yeah, I got up early and hopped on the scale because it's weigh-in day, and the impossible has happened. That's right. After 11 straight months of losing weight, I have gained weight this week. I weighed in at 181.2, and last week I was 180, so that's a gain of 1.2 pounds. Now I am doing my very, very best to not freak out about that. But it's tough. It's a very different mindset to sort of get into. Um, when you're so used to losing and you've been so consistent at it, and then boom, you have a gain. But let me tell you what I think has happened, and maybe if you guys could weigh in and reassure me, that would be great. Or tell me maybe what I'm doing wrong. So let's just start with what I've done with my nutrition plan, my diet. So what I've done is on MyFitnessPal, I've set my baseline calories at 1,400. And the reason why I picked that number is because I still want to lose a little bit. My basal metabolic rate is like 1650 or something like that. So if I set it at 1,400, then maybe I'll technically lose like half a pound a week. So really slowing down the weight loss. That's my goal right now. So I set it at 1,400, and then I try and eat back as much of the extra calories that I burn. So if I exercise for 500 calories that day, I'll try and eat back that 500 calories. I haven't been really successful in getting there and eating it all back, but I probably eat back, 70 to 80% of what I burn. And I think that's probably where I should shoot for, because those calculations in MyFitnessPal and whatever, they're not 100% accurate. I mean, they're made for people who are, their heart rate's at a certain level, and they're doing it at a certain intensity, and that. So they're not really accurate numbers. So I think going to that 75%, eating back 75% of what I burn seems like sort of a reasonable goal. So that's what I've been trying to do this week. So why did I gain? Well, I think there's a bunch of factors, and I think the biggest one is that I have upped my carbs significantly. Like my net carbs, I think, have been somewhere around 120 to 150 grams a day. So bye-bye ketosis. That's basically it, because my carbs had been much lower in the past. Even last week they were like 100-ish, or even less. No, more like 80-ish last week. But this week they've definitely been like 120 to 150 net carbs. So no more ketosis. So I think switching back to that glucose metabolism, I'm starting to store glucose again in my muscles and liver and wherever else. And we all know from when we did our pre-op, that initial weight that you lose from doing the pre-op diet is because you stop the carbs, you deplete your glucose stores in your muscles, and you lose all that associated water that was with that glucose in your muscles. And it's very significant. Obviously, when you're overweight, you have a lot of body mass, you have a lot of storage capability. So that's why you drop, 10 pounds a week. Boom, 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 when you're on that pre-op diet. So I've kind of gone back. So I've left that ketosis and almost into full on 100% of the time I'm in this glucose metabolism again. So obviously I'm storing some glucose and I'm storing some water associated with that. Thinking about that, it's not as large as it could be. I don't know if it takes a certain amount of time to replenish those glucose stores and the water associated with them. So if anyone knows anything about the time scale of that, let me know, because I'd like to know if next week I'm going to expect to gain too. So I think that's the number one factor, is just switching metabolism and storing up glucose and water. So that's like number one. That's probably like 80% of it there. Also this week, after my doctor's visit, which was only Thursday, so it's really only been half a week, really. I stopped, my liver specialist stopped my diuretic pill that I had been taking for my edema in my legs and also inflammation elsewhere from my autoimmune thing. So I stopped that, and yeah, so I might be retaining a little bit of water because I stopped that diuretic. And I definitely do notice that my, TMI, my urine color is a little bit darker than it usually is, and I'm drinking about the same amount of water, which reminds me I should do that right now. So that's the second thing, is just retaining water from changing my medication. The third factor is I've been eating more, and I've been eating things that are maybe not the best in terms of salt intake. I ate some breaded chicken this week, and I ate some flotas, which are like rolled up chicken and cheese pastry type things. Not really pastry, I think it's, what do you call it? Tortilla. Yeah, rolled up in tortilla. And those were like pre-made from the store, so they definitely had a lot more salt. So my salt intake has gone up like 0.5 to 1 gram a day. So I might be retaining a little bit of water from that too. So that's what I think is happening, and I've been thinking about it for a couple days, because I did take a sneak peek on the scale on Sunday and noticed that I was up a pound. So I've been really thinking about it, and I think those are the three things that cause the gain: glucose metabolism, retaining water from medication change, a little bit more salt. I'm going to keep an eye on the salt, but it's hard to decrease it back to where it was when you're eating twice as much as you were before. Like, it's impossible. I may have to just get used to going back. Instead of 1.5 grams a day, 2.5 grams a day is going to be my limit. So I'm about 95% sure that that's what's happening. But here's where the, excuse the language, this is where the mindfuck comes in. So I looked at my weekly reports on MyFitnessPal, and I noticed that relative to last week, where I lost weight, I have eaten 2,700 more calories, and I've exercised for at least 1,000 calories less. So my net caloric gain going from last week to this week is 350 calories. Now we all know that number. That is the calories from burning a pound of fat. So So that doubt is in my mind that I'm just eating too much and exercising less than I had been, and that's why I've gained weight. So, like I said, I'm 90% sure that's not the case, but it's just to have that number correlate, with increased food and decreased exercise, correlating with a weight gain. It's really messing with my head. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's just messing with my head. So yeah, if you guys have ever done this sort of drastic sort of diet change, or you've gained weight and you figured it out, I mean, please weigh in on this topic for me if you think that it's what I think it is, or if I did actually gain weight. I'd be interested to know what you think about it, and if you think my logic is sound and my doubts are insane, please tell me, because it doesn't hurt to hear it. Let's see, what else has been going on this week? Not a lot, really. We had a bunch of snow, so that's been like cleanup snow outside, which is kind of frustrating for me because I'm actually pretty good with cleaning up. Like, I clean up, shovel around my parking spot, and I even, shovel a little path from the parking lot to the door. It's just a little bit of activity for me. And then yesterday, the landlord was cleaning the parking lot, which basically means he takes his big scooper thing, his plow, and he plows the snow all the way across the parking lot, which is great for everybody else, but for me, there's now more snow in my parking place than there was before. I had to shovel again after he plowed. So I guess that's pretty typical here in Canada. We always have, people shoveling their driveway, and then the snowplow comes by and pushes it all back in the driveway. So it was kind of that situation this week. I've been playing video games again this week, just for something to do. It's pretty boring. I don't get much out of it, but I'm exercising less now, so I've got another hour or two a day to do something. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing. Anyway, I'll let you guys go, and hope everyone had a good week and is having a great time. Alright, bye guys.